What's up, people? This is Frodo Finds. Welcome to my video. Today's video, we're gonna watch the Piers Morgan. I rarely watch Piers Morgan because all they do is kind of yelling and everything. But today we're gonna be Michael Knowles. Actually, it's in there along with the two leftist guests of Piers Morgan. Piers Morgan's right here, right? This one right here on the left, and I can't remember his name, but he's the one that introduced the article of impeachment to impeach President Trump. I believe he's from Michigan, if I'm not mistaken. Michael Knowles, and I can't remember his name. I don't know. I don't pay attention to them. But this one, they're talking about this lefty right here is caught on the lie, and he would not admit it. So Piers Morgan or Michael Knowles put him in his place, So let's watch it. If you guys want to see the whole video, go to Michael Knowles' YouTube channel. It's all in there. Or Piers Morgan, you can go in there. So we'll watch it.
I want to talk specifically about the deployment of federal troops, not necessarily the wider separate issue of what ICE is doing with undocumented
that smug,
people
man.
in the United States. I've debated that a lot. We can
look. The hair. This is the smug of look in his face. He looks like he can't be trusted, man. That's just me. Same thing with this guy. Look the smug in his face. Michael Knowles, I know who Michael Knowles is. Piers Morgan. But this guy, though.
touch on that in a moment, but just specifically on the deployment of federal troops in states which are not DC, where obviously the federal government can do that. The president has that power. There is this raging argument now about whether it is constitutional, whether it is lawful for the president of the United States to do what Trump is now rolling out in places like Chicago. What is your view of that?
It's not only not legal, it's not only unconstitutional.
Okay.
But more importantly, it's not even good business, because this costs so much, putting federal troops in cities. Instead of that, if federal government can give the grants so that local police, law enforcement can hire more people. Right now, they are severely understaffed.
Oh.
They don't have...
Yeah, he made a mistake on that one. Yeah, I made a mistake. So he's admitting that they need help. So therefore, you don't need to send, National Guards or anything. They just want money. So according to him, it's not a good business because it's costs too much. So all you have to do is send money, maybe hire more people, hire more things.
The resources they need to keep our cities safe. Now, in a long-term process...
But aren't you answering your question?
Yeah.
I think you're making the point.
Right. I mean, in a way, what you just said is the rationale for doing it, isn't it? I mean, they're under-resourced. They don't have enough people. They can't control the crime. Donald Trump is recognizing this, and he's doing something about it. And I'm curious about how many regular Americans who live in some of these very crime-ridden inner cities in America.
Yeah, I live
really
near Chicago.
As you sound like you are, because if you've got a lot of crime going on around
rich,
you,
though.
and
this guy right here, he is filthy rich. That's why he is holding. That's why he's. I mean. I looked him up, and he's loaded.
The police are woefully under-resourced. Why would you object to seeing some troops on the streets to just try and restore order and perhaps send a real message to criminals?
See, putting military and reserves all over America, major American cities, and militarization of our country is not the solution. The solution is empower the local law enforcement, give them the funds that they need. It's the funding that needs to come so we can have a more long-term, long-lasting solution to it.
Congressman, are you familiar with the Insurrection Act? Hold on one second.
Why do you have to close? Why do you have to put a close up of his face like that, Michael? Oh man.
Familiar with the Insurrection Act?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. And this
so
is
what do you
not the
think
time.
that's for? You said that this was illegal. You said it was not unconstitutional and illegal for the federal government to send National Guard into cities and states. What do you think the Insurrection Act is for?
Well, look, this is a issue that the local government should be handling. It is this
No,
is
it's
an
the,
issue.
it's
what
a
is it-
federal
but what
law,
is the answer to
Congressman.
my-
I don't think you understand the
Yeah. He's got to adjust himself because his yeah, he's caught on that one. Look at this guy's eyebrows though. I know some people, I mean, they do makeup when they do you know, when they face the camera or whatnot, you know, but yeah.
Direction.
Right, to Michael's, well, let me just ask, I mean, Congressman, do you actually know what the Insurrection Act says?
Yes, you know, but this is the,
Well, hang on. What does it say?
Well, look, what we saw happen in January 6th in the Congress. That's insurrection.
No, that's not the question. The question is, are you familiar? I mean, obviously, the government is citing the.
It's pivoting to the Gen 6. Oh, the typical textbook of the Democrats. You know what's the worst in Gen 6? Any weekend in Chicago. There you go.
Insurrection Act as the empowerment to do what it's doing. Are you familiar with what the Insurrection Act
Yes, I am. But
allows?
look, this president has used all kinds of excuses to break the law. This president has
no, but that is the law. So what is the law, Congressman? You say you're familiar with the Insurrection Act, but you don't seem to be able to describe what it does, and you're actually contradicting it. So what do you think the Insurrection Act does?
Look, the issue here is that we need our cities safe. Americans want.
Well, Congressman, with all due respect.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not an answer to the question. I mean, if you don't look,
can you lay out what you believe allows Donald Trump to act
well,
so
hang
unlawfully?
on, Jack. I'm going to come to you very shortly, but just to be clear, Congressman, it's a pretty simple question that Michael posed, which is the government are citing the Insurrection Act as the rationale and the legal tool by which they can do what they're doing. You said it's illegal and wrong and they shouldn't be doing it, but you seem to be struggling to explain what the Insurrection Act actually is. And Michael, quite rightly, is saying, well, can you just tell us?
Well, whatever it is, when the National Guards are picking up trash and the National Guards are watering the flowers, that is not Insurrection Act, and that's not what this is meant to be.
But do you know what it is, the act?
Yeah.
What is it?
You know, when there is an insurrection, the government has powers to use military, use reserve to address those situations. And this is clearly not the situation here. What we need to do is empower local law enforcement.
Okay, Michael, your response to that?
I think the congressman might be a little bit confused because he said that the federal government is breaking the law by sending the National Guard in to restore order to the cities where crime has spiraled out of control, where there's obviously a violation of federal law with all of the illegal aliens running about. And that is actually what it's for. We have a federal government in order to step in when the local and state governments fail. And so this has been used many, many times, not merely to restore order if there's some violent revolution, but even, for instance, to desegregate schools. This has been used many, many times over the course of American history. There's nothing illegal about it. And in fact, what President Trump is doing right now is one of the clearest and most just uses of the Insurrection Act when you have cities that are failing, that in your own words, cannot enforce the law, are under-resourced, and are falling into disorder. So I think you've made a good argument for what President Trump is doing.
Okay.
Well, look what he's doing.
Let me bring in Jack.
Yeah, I don't want to hear Jack. In the video here, you guys can watch the whole thing. But this guy, the smug congressman right here, he got put in place. So, yeah, he's... Dude, get new hair. We'll see you.